怒りを叫べ悲しみを叫べ魂を叫べ今ここで叫べ
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Yokai Delinquents podcast. I am Sean, Bearded Kappa Litton.
And I am Jerry Robo Tengu Smith. How's it going, Sean? How you doing this week?
I am speaking to you over the internet, acting like I'm awake right now.
Yeah. That's I think that's the general consensus of how the internet works.
Yes.
That's why we do the internet, not in person, right?
Yeah, that's why you rarely have seen us on film, on camera.
Yeah.
Because you would just see that while my voice may be loud and excited as I'm talking about saying, you don't see me just slumped over a head in my hands looking down, questioning my life. No. I am, as always, tired as hell, but I'm excited to be talking to you, my good friend.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel that, and it's good that we don't do a video podcast. Not that I wouldn't, be opposed to it or anything, but I'm recording from my couch right now, so that's great.
Hey, look, comfort is important. You sound good, but hey, you know what? I mean, we talked about that actually when we first started recording. The idea of potentially doing a video cast, and we've done a few. We had our Halloween special. We've done some opening up like my pickup videos on my channel and stuff, which no one cared about. But
I cared, Sean. I was there for them.
I appreciated you caring about what I had in my possession. But I don't know. Would that be a good kind of mix things up for y'all listeners out there? Want to see our faces for whatever reason you would ever want to? Let us know in the comments. Hit us up on the socials. All that good stuff.
You wanna pay us to not see our faces? Because that could be a thing too.
Right. From now on, videocast. You don't want to see our faces? Join our Patreon for as small as $5 a month. Smash that like button. Everything else popular streamers who are successful at doing this tell you to do, and you listen.
Right. Exactly.
Jerry.
Yes.
Jerry,
what's up, Sean?
We have talked at length about Monster Hunter Rise.
I mean, not enough, honestly.
I mean, we have talked about every single thing that has come out, because I know I've done every single thing in that game.
Yep.
And these people are plumb tired, I'm sure, of hearing about Monster Hunter Rise until the new update at the end of the month.
Yeah, we promise we won't talk about Monster Hunter Rise in this episode.
Right. I acknowledge it. I'm sure it's getting tiresome. So today, we're going to change things up just a little bit for all y'all good people out there. Jerry, I want to talk about Monster Hunter World.
That's perfect.
Because we have gone backwards.
Yeah. Oh, yes. We have to go back.
Because it is no joke. I don't know about you, Jerry. I have red check marks on every single quest in the game. I have a dual blade for every element and status ailment out there. I even made a light bow gun just for the shit of it in Rise. Just to try ranged again, because I saw a decent build online. And it's been amazing. There's no regret. I know we said we were going to talk about Rise, but I got to wrap up why we went backwards real quick. But I've done everything. There is nothing new in the game until said update later this month, which I'm super excited for. So, and you, being the person you are super hyped for about 2 weeks on a thing, then you just leave it alone.
Listen, we hit the content wall, and I was ready for something with more content.
It's true. And we went back to World, which had an expansion called Iceborne. I'm sure we've brought that up on here before. And we never played Iceborne, because by the time it came out, we were wholly unimpressed with World.
Yeah, it was definitely that. And I mean, granted, like it was 2 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Like before that came out, which I mean, I haven't played a lot of stuff that's had expansions lately.
Right.
And I honestly, so I don't have any kind of frame of reference at the moment, like how long it usually takes for expansions to come out. That's not for an MMO.
Right.
But for World, and it was just really difficult because like we get into it and we just fucking play the shit out of it,
Right.
and that's basically what we did in World. And I think we may have done some other stuff after the initial, like, oh, we've beaten the big boss in the story and everything
Right.
like that, and all we really had was the same stuff, just tempered at that point in it. So it was kind of like, and then not to mention they didn't. One of the best things about Monster Hunter, one of the coolest things that I really like about it, is the weapon designs get
Right.
really interesting, even for, like, if you're using the same weapon.
Right.
But it seemed like World, a lot of what their design went into was like, high graphic content for the game and the monsters and everything like that. And honestly, getting back into it, the character creation, palico creation was really well done. But
Oh yeah.
it was it was kind of lacking in the weapons. Like it really seemed like, if you were on the ore tree, every weapon that was attached to the ore tree looked exactly like it, with just like some kind of color variation of like the monster skin, and that was like it. There
Yeah.
was no uniqueness to them,
Oh,
really.
and I mean, so we're touching on that now. Like I said, we have gone back
Hmm.
in. You've gotten a little further than me on Iceborne,
Hmm.
uh,
Hmm.
and I have officially dove in because I finally found a good sleep bombing, as I've talked about in the
Hmm.
past. It's my jam.
Hmm.
Sword and shield set, and I've been building my way to it. Got a lot of it knocked out, and I've got the sword upgraded almost to its max, and that problem is still there. It
Hmm.
went from a like simple blade and shield to an axe, and it's been an axe for
Hmm.
like five variations, just
Yeah.
changing even through different monster parts needed.
Hmm.
It just kind of got a new skin wrap, and now it's an axe and
Yeah.
shield. And yeah, that's still an issue, but I'm enjoying the shit out of it again.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've been having a lot of fun. And honestly, like what I've been seeing a lot of is getting into like the master rank weapons,
Yeah,
when Iceborne picked up.
right.
It is around whenever they kind of updated some of their weapon designs and everything like that.
Yeah,
So they actually like didn't all stay, about the same. They kind of changed them up a little bit. The further you got through it and everything like
well,
that, like,
I'm on the
I
second to last of the sword and shield, and unless this final
yeah.
form, which yeah, I think the final one has the Iceborne version of the Palamu,
Mhm.
so we'll see if it changes drastically. I'm really hoping so. I mean, it looks cool and all,
Mhm.
but it's
Mhm.
still like now. Granted, the layered armor kind of fixes the redundancy of some of the armor sets and whatnot, and
Right.
they've added a lot. The clutch claw alone gives me Rise vibes, and it keeps the
Mhm.
battles more interesting because going back, like I don't know,
Yeah.
if, I know a lot of gamers don't. I usually don't have an issue once enough time has passed going back and playing
Mhm.
an older like entry into a long run in the series. But
Right.
like Monster Hunter with their quality of life changes that they do, sometimes it's hard to step back.
Oh
And
yeah.
World at first was I was so spoiled on the wire bug and just the speed of what Rise
Mhm.
is. But now I'm
Mhm.
kind of okay. I'm getting it. I'm getting the feel, the flow, and doing some hunts and stuff in World, and I have been enjoying that. I've been
Yeah.
yeah, it's been good to kind of go back. And again, it's a gorgeous fucking game. Like
Oh yes.
I went ahead and got the cutscenes out the way for the Tigrex and the Brachydios, and just
Mhm.
seeing yours for whatever reason, the Tigrex and my favorite like monsters in that high depth, high graphic quality. I can't think of
Mhm.
words. Yeah, that high detail, of looks for them. They look just stunning on the fucking screen. Until my
Oh
computer
yeah.
crashes, my graphics card suddenly doesn't like this game very much. Every time it does it, I've gone down one more graphic quality. I'm waiting to see if it'll still do it on low. Then I'll just okay, it's just the game, and I can turn it back up.
Right.
See if it
Right.
because it's not like repeatedly, but it's been failing on me, and I'm not a computer person because the only
Yeah.
I'm not playing a lot of other games outside like Warcraft and stuff, so I don't know if it's my graphics card is already fucked up or just I've always heard Monster Hunter World though on PC was like a monster of a game. No pun intended, of like graphically, like it'll push your computer. So that might just be it. It might just be the game.
Yeah, it might have had something to do with like the port over to it and everything, because I've heard a lot of people not have like any issues on PS4, like it runs smoothly
Yeah.
and everything. Which that's what we originally played it on, and it seemed pretty good, seemed fine. Um,
Yeah, I
but
wish there was crossplay. We got our
oh no,
we got our buddy Caleb. He ain't making
yeah,
that jump. I feel like he's so mad because we abandoned him on PS4.
Yep, yeah.
He continued through Iceborne, and we just like,
Mhm.
whatever, bro. We're playing, I don't know, Diablo 3 or something. By that point, we had moved on to something.
Man, I don't even know at this point. But yeah, and like, you know, there are definitely things about both of the games that I could really like go into. Like, obviously the mobility and everything for Rise is fantastic. All of it just flows really well, and but of course with it being like a system that's not as like high graphical, like it kind of like lacks that capability to pull off the realism and everything that World has.
Right.
But and that's kind of like a big thing with World, is they went for more of a realism take, and I just kind of find myself like looking at some of the monsters and just being like, holy shit, this thing looks terrifying. And then whenever you're in Rise, you're just zipping all around them and they're not as intimidating. Um, but yeah, the way that they designed all of the monsters in World, and not to mention the way that they have the like the weapons and how the impact hits the monster and everything.
Right.
Whenever they hit, it feels a lot more like, and whenever you're swinging your weapons around, it feels like a big clunky like steel weapon, as opposed to like Rise, where it's a bit faster paced and everything. It doesn't feel as slow, but I kind of like both versions of it. I like how Rise has that, where it's like, man, this actually feels how I feel like it would be, like super slow, and the monsters are really scary and like drooling at you and breathing fire at you and everything. Um, so yeah, it's been an interesting fix, especially because we jumped into it before 2.0 came out on Rise. So there was this weird like transition where I did World for like a week or so, and then jump back on Rise for like a week or so, and then jump back on World. So
And World is like, I said, going back can be rough sometimes, but like, yeah, it's not that big of a difference. There is a speed difference, and I grant you that. Once you kind of step away from Rise long enough, you don't miss it. I mean, like, I still jump on Rise. I am still currently going back and forth.
oh yeah,
And
yeah.
but World, yeah, it's refreshing because while we may have ripped through Monster Hunter Rise, I still need my Monster Hunter fix right now. It's not one of those. I'm not ready to put down Monster Hunter, but I am. I'm that guy I know there's like 14 weapons to master in every one of these games, and technically you should never. But I'm gonna be honest. I go with my go-tos. I might experiment with one, but once I get set in a certain weapon, yeah, once I do all the hunts, I'm kind of like, I'm not much of a grinder from that point unless I have like, Eric's Gaming on YouTube, showed me a new mix set I can make. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
but it's been good going back and playing kind of getting closer to completing the game we never finished.
Right. And that was kind of like my reason for kind of putting that bug in your head about playing World, is because I was like, I'm not really done playing Monster Hunter right now, but there's not anything left to do in Rise at the moment. So let's just do this until we get more updates and everything for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
With yeah,
go ahead.
And we've got 2.0 supposedly coming out like next week. And I know what we're supposed to be getting a higher level cap, and then also the continuation of the story finally for the village quests.
Yeah, like last I had heard, I didn't hear about level cap. The last thing I heard was the last update giving us unlimited hunter rank. Now,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, hopefully, I wouldn't mind a master rank like well we're in currently in Iceborne. But yeah,
Yeah.
we're getting a definitive ending, or they said a new ending. I'm not sure, to the story.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that'll add another monster or two. But because they also said new monsters. Now, could that be?
Yeah.
We got 4 new monsters in this last update. Yeah, hopefully that's a
Mm-hmm.
standard. I'm hoping, but it may only be a couple. But it's
What
been what's that?
what are your monster hopes?
Oh, I mean, Brachydios is the
Yeah.
biggest one.
Mm-hmm.
If we're gonna go a new Elder Dragon, the complete the story, just something brand new.
Yeah, I could definitely some brand new, but for an additional one, I
Yeah,
feel like they would add Kieran.
yeah. Kieran's. I feel like Kieran's coming. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I almost don't want to say it, but it's also a very obvious one they would put in because
Devil Joe.
there's a leak supposedly. I have not investigated
Oh.
it. I've just kind of seen it brought
Mm.
up here and there. The Devil
Yeah.
Pickle, yes, the Devil Joe
Yeah. Yeah.
is supposedly got leaked, confirmed.
I
I'm
can
just
see it.
That's just rumor for me. I'm not saying I've ever seen it. If it's
Yeah.
a spoiled surprise, I apologize. But if they're gonna put the fucking Basil Geist in it, they're gonna put the Devil Joe. Those are the 2 most
Oh yeah.
annoying fuckers to have in another hunt. It's like when you're hunting them,
Perfect.
you're braced and ready for that the fight that they bring. But they are
Oh yeah.
those are my number 1 and my number 2. Fucking like, why the fuck are you interfering in my hunt right now, monsters?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
I could see the Devil Joe. We need our Death Pickle, as he's been nicknamed.
Yes.
I could see him coming in. Playing through World though, like again, the Palamu.
Mm-hmm.
We need our Fluffy Bat. I would like to see him in
Mm-hmm.
there, just for.
It's so good.
I'm not saying there's a lacking, but now I'm thinking about it. We don't have a ton of like flying monsters in Rise
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
No,
Not a whole lot.
no, not compared to what's out there. I'm talking about the ones
Mm-hmm.
that could like usually take flight in the middle of the fight. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
outside of the
Yeah.
Rathalos and the Rathian.
Mm-hmm.
So I would actually like to see some more of them. Just a little more flying variety. I'd be down for.
Yeah, I feel like we're probably gonna get some of our first variants. Maybe just the Azure Rathalos and Pink Rathian.
Right.
But I feel like we'll probably get those in this game.
Absolutely, and that's totally what I'm
Hmm.
looking forward to. And we talked about Rise way more than we promised we wouldn't. But yeah, something else that's been keeping me company though while I've been grinding out this armor and playing through World again.
Yes. Hmm.
The Adventure Zone.
Oh yes.
You put me onto this a long time ago, and we
Hmm.
may have mentioned it. If any of y'all are still loyally listening to us ramble since the Southern Fried Geekery days, we probably talked about it back then, but I know we haven't talked about it on the show since.
Hmm.
For those who don't know, it's the McElroy family, the brothers and their dad, which is a
Hmm.
what do they call it, playcast kind of thing, where they people who play like Dungeons and Dragons on a podcast.
Yeah. It's an actual play D&D podcast.
There we go. That's the term.
Hmm.
A
Hmm.
lot of fun. They got their start with the longest running one, which what was the general? It was like an overall arc name for it.
The first one was Balance.
Balance, yeah. And they've done a bunch
Yeah.
of smaller ones here and there. So it's nothing so far has been the sheer volume of Balance yet. But
Hmm.
they've done a lot of different ones which range in style. Like we really loved Amnesty, which had that
Hmm.
horror vibe and like Buffy monster hunting kind
And
of thing.
cryptids and
Cryptic,
everything.
yeah, that's a
Yeah.
better term. And now currently they dropped a new one, and you told me about it right before, like maybe 2 or 3 days before it started. And again, kind of going back on the whole, well, can't leave things unfinished, because
Hmm.
I started Graduation, which is the arc they did before this new one. So I've
Hmm.
been marathoning the shit out of these podcasts at work.
No,
and at
yeah,
home.
you've been fucking flying through it.
Well, benefit of working overnights when the stores close, I can just pop that on my earbuds and do my job while listening, and it's been a blast. And and we highly recommend you check out the Adventure Zone podcast. It's on YouTube. It's everywhere. Check them out. Hell, you can even have it in book form for the Balance arc. They got the first three major arcs in comic book form, and the McElroys, they're hilarious and overall good people too. That's the other thing. They are like, I haven't heard ain't no dirt dug up on these motherfuckers. They are
Right.
They are highly entertaining. That's been keeping me entertained a lot. And it's been, I ain't gonna lie, it's put the D&D bug in me again, I think.
It'll do that, man. They are really big on getting people jazzed about some D&D for sure.
And so like, not only have I've like low key in my head been kind of piecing together a game again, because as much as I say I don't want to DM, and I mean I'm sure there's players and dungeon masters out there that may disagree with this statement, I don't know if I can fully go back to being a player again.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Because I did, and the whole time I'm thinking that's not what I would have done.
Yeah. Right.
Oh no, like, oh, you could have totally set us up this way better, and like not in a critical manner, just my mind. Last time I came back as just a player, my mind wouldn't turn off. Like, what would I have been doing as a DM?
Right.
And so, and again, like, at least in our circle, I'm sure there are people out there who have absolutely no problem finding someone who loves running games, but no one in my fucking friend circle, they all want to play. Which led to my first time DMing with 14 of our friends, which I know we've talked about.
Oh my god.
But, and out of 14 of you some bitches, other than when y'all were nice enough to, babysit a game for me for one weekend when I needed a break, nobody wanted to full time, and I get it. It's once you're in it, it kind of flows a bit better. But like, even now, when I've got this story idea formulating in my head, I also, like, what stops me usually is like, okay, yeah, because this could work. Oh wait, I have to look all this shit up and get all these stats. Fuck this thing. I don't want to run a game again. That's a lot of numbers. But but then a buddy of mine, as of today, actually, as of this recording, hit me up about running a one shot.
Okay.
His girlfriend's going to be coming to town, and he wants her to try D&D. Well, Pathfinder in this case, because that's the tabletop info I have access to. So
Right.
so I think I'm gonna incorporate yeah.
I will say that I do have a D&D Beyond subscription, and I have a lot of the books. And you can actually go in and make your own games, and then have people add their players and create them on that. If you wanted to borrow it, I would not be sad about lending you all that stuff. Honestly, if you just, and even if you just wanted to go in and check it out, I could throw you that link, because we were doing a bunch of stuff and contemplating on doing our own game a while back, but it kind of fell through. But like, I have a lot of source material right now.
Right.
Yeah. So and D&D Beyond, in my opinion, because I know when we did Pathfinder, we were using what was that, Hero Lab?
Yeah.
And in my opinion, the layout is so much easier to navigate. It takes a little bit of navigating, but it works out really, really well once you get the hang of it.
Right.
And like, they have like digital dice and stuff like that. Of course, if you're anything like me, which I know you are, you want to roll your own goddamn dice.
I still have my die, and I still have my custom DM miniature you good people made for me, or had made for me at Hero Forge.
Oh yes.
I still got those shoved away somewhere for an emergency. But yeah, I'll probably take you up on that and give that a try, because like I said, right now, as it stands, it's a one shot. Basically I'm thinking, set up a few floors for them to work through, maybe set their characters like level 3, get a decent start. and like keep it
Right.
basic because she's never played. It may only be the two of them. We may try to get a third in there so she
Huh.
at least gets the feel of I guess a semi-full party. At least three.
Right.
I'd say at least 3 players is. I mean, I can do two. For what I have in
Mm-hmm.
mind, it would still work just fine. 'Cause I don't know if I ever brought
Mm-hmm.
it up to you or not. It's not what I have planned for them, but I've long wanted to do my own version of the Road to El Dorado, where it's
Oh,
just
really?
a bard and a thief are on an adventure.
Oh,
I don't know if you've ever seen the
great.
memes where they put the two heroes of the animated movie Road to El Dorado. Since one of
Right.
them loves playing the little his lute, and the other one's a bit of a
Mm-hmm.
sword fighter. They always called them, a rogue and a bard out on an adventure to get some treasure. And I'm like, okay,
Right.
because running a 2-player campaign that way, I think it can be done. I don't know if professional dungeon masters would agree with me or not. I don't care. But I don't know. So I'm looking forward to that.
I have honestly been throwing around ideas, and I'm sure they exist out there because everything
Right,
fucking
right.
exists. I just can't really like do it. I don't know. It's just like not completely there for me. But I've had so many ideas for an SK game.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I thought about that too.
like either yeah, like either the characters are in the real world, create their characters, and then go to a fantasy world. Which actually, I don't know if you've ever listened to or even heard about Dungeons and Daddies, but that's pretty much like that.
Someone told me about that. I know that name at
Yeah.
least. I never listened.
Uh, and then the other idea I had was someone like a switcheroo for SK and go from like you're a fantasy character and you die and get sucked into the real world.
I've had the idea. Yeah,
So.
right, right. I've had a close idea where it would just be adapting everything from the medieval into the modern.
Yeah.
Like a long time ago, I did that with. I'm talking. This is literally like, hey, have you heard? This was literally like high school, no money, just like, hey,
Yeah.
there's a thing called Dungeons and Dragons where they tell a story, they roll some dice, and everyone has their character and they role play. That was the
Mm-hmm.
extent of what I knew about D&D. So me and my friends being broke after school, can't do anything, can't even rent a movie, can't even get a pizza. But we do have a fucking Monopoly game we don't like to play anymore that has a bunch of 6-sided die, and we have a whole bunch of school paper. So we made our own version using only D6 die, and basically me telling a story and them reacting in a sense, in the most bare
Nice.
minimum of D&D. We did that in high school, and I said it in the real world.
Nice.
So like we was like oh, you gotta, instead of you have your broadsword, oh, you have a pipe. You know, you have a baseball bat. Yeah, oh well, you got band-aids for minimal, small healing. Heal checks were just basically wiping off the blood and slapping a band-aid on there, and
Yeah.
like their classes were literally like, all right, well, what like job applications do you have? Like, well, my dad took me out in the woods a bit. We used to hunt all the time. Oh, okay, so that's basically like a ranger. So we call you outdoorsman. Like a little adapt. And I've always thought about, now that I've actually ran, a tabletop game for year and a half total, maybe 2 years total now. When I was doing it, like, man, like really take. And I'm sure it exists out there. I'm sure there's a module. I'm sure there's a whole thing out there of real world tabletop. But I want to do it myself. If I like
Right.
that's
Right.
always been like
I know.
that would be the big project if I didn't have 78 other projects I'm doing in my life.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And like it's so funny you thought about that, and that kind of gave me the whole idea that the comic out there that was like really close to a real world like D&D session.
Right. The
What was that book that we were reading? What's
die
up?
die.
No, no,
Oh.
no. I was thinking of that one, but I was thinking of the one with the kids where they find out that their parents were like when they were
Oh.
children, they were guardians of the fairy. Yeah, what was that?
Lollipop Kids.
Lollipop Kids. Yes, that would make an excellent D&D game. Honestly.
That would actually be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, like there, I think we're gonna have to cut this episode a little short. I do
Yeah.
sincerely apologize to y'all out there. This is gonna be a short
Oh,
one. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna have to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Apologize. Everything's okay. I promise. But thank y'all for this very short session. I do apologize.
Yeah.
We will come back with the fire next week. I promise. I hope you enjoyed what y'all did for this 30 minutes y'all put us through. Thank y'all very much. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good jazz. Jerry, you set them off.
Oh yeah. Take care, everybody, and peace.